Welcome, dear learners. Welcome in the next module on English in academic writing. In the previous module, we discussed about using English language for effective academic writing by avoiding the grammatical errors, punctuation errors, and improving the cohesion and coherence in academic writing by using some tools. Now, let us discuss some different aspects of academic writing. Now, we will focus how the language part can be taken care of in each and every section of our manuscript or academic writing. Now, what is the learning outcome? Dear learners, after completing this module, you will learn improving the language of each and every section of manuscript, writing styles and the tips, avoiding most common mistakes of manuscript writing, and features of different standard styles of research writing. How the lesson will move? Here is the lesson plan. The section-wise language improvement tips, most common mistakes to be avoided, then major don'ts, then types of styles, and among the styles we will be discussing APA, MLA and CMS style. Now let us discuss the section-wise tips, the language tips for improving the cohesion and coherence. Though we will be discussing how technically each and every section is written, here we will be discussing how the language of each and every section can be improved. Now, first part is your title. Dear learners, title should be catchy, brief, and must be representative of your work. And most importantly, I would like to say that it must be free from any spell error. Double check the spelling if the title is in uppercase. Dear learners, you know that our MS Office spell checker doesn't give any error sign when the word is in uppercase. So always remember that you will have to double check the title. And next, follow the word limit if prescribed in author's guideline. Now the next section is abstract. Abstract gives the central idea of your whole work, and it is the most important, though it is very small part, though it is very smaller section, but it is the section which motivates the reader or attracts the prospective reader. So you will have to write it very effectively. Now, what are the tips for writing a good abstract as far as the language part is concerned? Number 1, make the abstract simple, effective, and catchy. You are aiming to attract the prospective reader, so the presentation must be very effective. Make short sentences. It is itself a small section, so using long sentences will be awkward. Make it self-explanatory and concise. Do not give the reader the interpretive burden. In the beginning itself, if you are giving that interpretive burden to the reader will run away. This section is meant for attracting the reader and not making him run away. So, don't give them the interpretive burden. Follow the word limit as per the journal's requirement. Many journals put a limit of words ranging from 200 to 300 words. And if you have planned a longer abstract, the online submission system would not accept it. It is designed in that way only. In that case, what you have to do? You have to reframe the abstract and concise it. And when you cut short in a hurry while submitting the manuscript, it always results in disaster. So, follow the word limit strictly. Avoid abbreviations and complex sentences. You cannot start using the abbreviations in the abstract itself. Using abbreviations without reference will just confuse the readers. And the same holds true with the complex sentences. Now, next thing is make it either structured or unstructured. Structured means the entire abstract is subdivided in subheadings like aim and objectives, or maybe the background, methods, materials and methods, results, and conclusion. If journal says that you will have to give the structured abstract, then make it structured. Otherwise, plan an unstructured abstract with a good cohesive writing. Now, let us move to the introduction section. Introduction section gives problem definition and acquaints the readers about the idea of research. Dear learners, when we write introduction, these points must be taken care of. First thing is, dear learners, giving background is just like taking some steps back like a tiger before the final attack. Or in another way, it is like taking some run up before the final delivery of your ball. Dear learners, have you seen any bowler running from the pavilion as a run up and delivering the ball? Or say for example, in other way, delivering the ball while he is standing at the non-striking end only without any run up. So this is the basic importance of background. You have to give a background which is neither too long nor too short. So this is the key. Next is give a power-packed story. Tell your idea like a complete story, but it should not be too long. Otherwise, it will lose its focus. So stay focused while you are writing the introduction. Ensure cohesion and coherence. Cohesion at grammatical level and coherence at idea level must be ensured here in introduction. It is very, very important. The cohesion and coherence must be ensured for giving the sequential flow of information in a logical way. So the reader should be able to predict about the very next sentence. Next thing is present tense followed by the past. Dear learners, introduction may be started in the present tense for giving the current status of the knowledge, followed by background and problem hypothesis, which should be given in past tense. Now let's move to the another section, materials and methods. I'm just taking the IMRAD style for the beginning. For sciences and life sciences, it is very common to apply that format for the manuscript. In the materials and methods, generally we tell the readers how we have done it, okay? And what materials we have taken and what methods we have adopted. So what are the tips for the material and methods for improving the language of this section? Use past tense throughout because you have already done the work and you are reporting it just. Clarify the method fully. It may be decisive in review process because the reviewer always give due importance to your method because method is a decisive factor for peer review process. That's why the method must be clearly spelled out. Use good balance of passive and active voice as we have mentioned in our earlier module also. Many times in method, passive voice is more common. Do not start a sentence with a digit. It is almost common. Sometimes we take that 10, right? Rather than writing T and 10, we write 10 milligram of that particular substance was taken. Okay? So don't write like that. Don't start with a digit. Use punctuations carefully. Using the punctuations is utmost essential as we have already mentioned in our earlier module. Otherwise, the disaster will be like that, as in Hindi we say, roko mat jane do. It is all about the comma. Where we put the comma, the meaning entirely becomes different. Now, the another section, the next section is resultant discussion. What we do in the resultant discussion, we report the result, what we have got, and then we process that result and discuss the result on the basis of previous studies, whether they are supporting it or whether they are in contradiction, or analytically we discuss those things. So what is required with the language point of view in resultant discussion? It is very, very important because this section is again a decisive factor for deciding the acceptance of your manuscript as taken by the reviewers. So number one, follow a pattern or the logical sequence to present the results and their discussion. Give due weightage to present every particular result. You cannot skip a particular result and starting the or jumping on the third result and skipping the second one. Don't do like that. Avoid exaggeration or the vague statements in discussion. You cannot say like that, it was a very excellent result, it was the largest one. Without statistical significance, you cannot report anything in the vague way. Remember this thing for academic writing. Avoid repeating the results already mentioned in table and figure. Be very clear in discussing and correlating the study with other studies. Make crisp sentences. Don't make the sentences like a journalist does. Don't make the very long sentences. The clarity must be there when you are discussing your results, because you are trying to convince the reader that yes, I have done it and it is like this only. So make the crisp sentences, crystal clear sentences. Do not give the interpretive burden to the reader. And lastly, convince the reader with your logic on the basis of evidence-based discussion of results. Now, let's go to the conclusion part. It is the concluding remark of your work. It is very concise part. It consists of, in a nutshell, you give whatever your findings were there. So, what is the tip as far as the language improvement part is concerned? Concisely give concluding remark and conclude as per the laid down objectives. Remember, your conclusion must be in good tune, rather must be in perfect tune with your objectives. Sometimes objectives are different and conclusion is different than what does the peer reviewer does? Peer reviewer simply rejects this manuscript just on the basis of a wrong conclusion. So each and every section has its own importance. Now let's move to the next part, acknowledgement. You are acknowledging the things. Do not use the greasy language. Acknowledge formally and professionally to the eligible persons, to the well-deserved persons only. You must be very humble and straightforward when you are acknowledging the persons, services or institutions. Now, let's go to the reference part. First and foremost thing for the reference part, reference section, that you will have to follow the punctuation guidelines as recommended by that particular journal. Sometimes even the punctuation errors, punctuation mistakes results in rejection of manuscript. Too many mistakes can't be skipped by the reviewer. So dear learners, we will be discussing the technical part of each and every section in later modules. We just discussed the language part here, and in our next lecture we will be discussing the most common mistakes with respect to the language in academic writing. So stay tuned and enjoy the next lecture also.